Good afternoon, everybody. It's Whiskey Barrel's very own Oliver Joyce here with another Spartacus Game Dev update. Update 3 weeks into development. And I gotta tell you, it's been a tough week. Now, I've been only working in Unity recently for the last month or so, doing tutorials and then starting in the game. Really didn't get to do all the tutorials I needed, and I've kind of gone into this a bit blind, even though I did a lot of Unity stuff 4 or 5 years ago for a couple of months. So I'm not completely blind as to how to use Unity, but I definitely get lost a little bit. And I was using an engine called the Corgi Engine, which is a tool for Unity to allow you to make platform games. And it does a ton of interesting stuff for you, allowing you to have enemies and platforms that make you jump, moving platforms, all sorts of cool stuff. But there's a lot to it, and it requires a lot of learning just to get under the hood and really see how things work in there. And I found that I was a bit overwhelmed, and very quickly I decided that the project was already getting out of hand. So what I did was I scrapped it all. I started a new project and then started working on my own platform game engine. And I spent 3 or 4 nights doing that, and I definitely learned a lot in quite a quick period of time. And from doing that, I realized one thing, which I kind of already knew because I've made platform games in other engines in the past. What I realized was platform games are damn tough to make. Not easy at all. They require a ton of thinking. It's easy to get a character moving and walking around and jumping. That's not hard. Where it gets challenging is when you want them walking on slopes and up ladders and jumping off ladders and climbing ropes and enemy AI. There's a lot of things that you can make, but you can make badly. And I felt like that path was going to take a lot longer than I really wanted to, because I really only want to build this game in about 6 months or less. You know what I mean? I don't want to reinvent the wheel too much. So after a grand calculation, like I'm doing it all myself, I decided that what about a compromise? So I brought the Corgi engine back in, and I'm using that for the platform game component, and I'm rolling with my own code for the combat and just the stat managing and the RPG elements of the game. So it'll be my game powered by the Corgi engine, and I'm extending a lot of the Corgi components already, which means, by extending, I mean I'll show you in a minute. I've got a ladder, and you can climb up the ladder, and now I can make it so you can slide down the ladder, like in Dark Souls, where it doesn't animate, it sort of slides down like fast. And so I've been figuring out there's a lot of things I can do with it to tweak it and make it more my own, and still learn about Unity along the way. So today I have a bit to show you. Not that much, but the main thing is we have a character now. So we're going to jump over to Unity in a second, and we'll have a look at our hero. So let's do that now. Actually, I changed my mind. Let's go and check out Texture Packer, which is the program I use to get all my sprites together, and I talked about that in the last video. And here we have a good majority of all the sprites for Spartacus done by my good friend Brulov from the Ukraine. Very talented pixel artist, and he's done a good 30 or 40 different frames of animation or more for Spartacus, as you can see there. So when I publish that, we can now bring that into Unity, and I'll show you what we have. We have a hero called Spartacus. There are all these frames, and here is Spartacus. He is a 32 by 32 pixels character. He's very small, but he's very powerful. And when you bring in a character to Unity, there's all sorts of things you can do with it. There's all these scripts, part of the Corgi engine, that I can have on there for jumping, wall climbing, handling weapons. I've edited a few of them already, which is kind of cool. You have what's called a box collider on him, so you can kind of that green area is where he gets hit, and I've actually moved that up a little bit so he can actually stand on platforms. There's all these animations for him. I have a a little animation creator here. So you can see here's an attack animation playing. And I've had to set this up over the last sort of day or two. And that's basically been my Monday and Tuesday. I've been setting up the character and perfecting the jump, getting him to climb up ladders. And that will be my next few weeks as well, because there's a lot of things I want him to do. You're basically building a sandbox before you can build the game. And part of that sandbox is the character within. Let's have a quick look at him in the game. So remember last video we had a stick figure. Now we have a proper pixel character. So here he is, Spartacus. You can walk left and right. You can look up. You can look down, but we're at the bottom, so that's actually ducking as well. What we're going to do is I'm going to climb a ladder. You can see him climbing up now. I'm going to sort of, I've got to work on the speed of the ladder and so on and work out something that I'm happy with. Quite like the jump, he's quite athletic. Here's the look down, so the camera pans down, camera pans up. When you go down the ladder, and this is something I just added about an hour ago, he slides down faster. So you notice that's the speed moving up. And when he goes down the ladder, animation pauses. So I'm going to work on that, and I'm probably add a few particles and some little bits of dust in somewhere as he goes down. You can also go upstairs, but I'm not quite happy with it. See how it bugs out when you go up the stairs. It's because it's a slope and it's not quite a staircase. When you go down, no problem. Going up, animation goes a bit weird. Well, you can wall climb as well. You can see that. He's hanging onto the wall. I'm not going to allow unlimited wall climbs because it would make the game a bit too easy. That's the end of the level at the moment. And there's no background behind him yet. There is lighting in the game, but I'm going to show you that in a future video. I wanted to sort of show that off especially. I turn it off for the purposes of the when I'm building levels as well, just because it is quite dark. So character, we've also got an attack. There's our attack. He can move and attack at the moment. I might keep that, I might not. It's kind of cool, he can kind of like swing his sword into things. Next up, I want to bring in the spikes and the ropes, the jumping pads, water, different sort of surfaces for him to sort of test out his skills on. And I'm going to load up the build version of the game so you can actually see it in its... This is the editor mode. The build mode actually runs a bit faster. Let's jump over to that now as well. Right. So here we are in the build mode of the game. As you can see, in the last video I had that sort of portrait with the hearts up on the top. I've just got the default Corgi health bar there now. I'm going to be replacing it with my heart bar in this new version. You can see how much smoother it is when he runs and moves in this version. There's the duck, there's the jump, down the ladder, up the ladder. I'm not sure about that. It does look a little bit weird that he doesn't animate. So we'll figure something out though. Maybe it does a different style, different kind of animation. There's your attack. There's a few different attacks as well. Wall jump. So it's pretty epic already, you know. These platforms as well are, you can jump through them. So see how you can't jump. They're called one-way platforms, meaning that I can jump down off them. But if I did the stone wall that you see at the bottom here, you can't jump through that. It's a sort of standard platform game convention. There's a ton of other interesting things I'm going to put in this. This is very basic at the moment. We've got our animated torches down there as well. Yeah, so it's been an interesting development week, and I find that I'm always going backwards and forwards with what to do, and there's a ton to learn in Unity. And throw on top of that a custom engine, which does help you a lot, but there are challenges to learning that as well and figuring out how to get it to do what you want. So that's where we are with Spartacus Week 3. I look forward to showing you more in coming weeks. You'll probably find it's quite slow for a while, then all of a sudden we've got enemies, and then we've got levels and, you know, text box dialogues and interesting things, and you'll start to see the game really take shape. Thank you for joining me once again here on episode 3 of the Spartacus Game Developer Updates, or the Game Dev Journey, whatever you want to call it. Unity is very cool, but it's very frustrating, and there's good and bad. A lot of good and a lot of bad, and a lot to learn. It's unlike anything I've ever really done in game development before, both good and bad. I mean, you can see how quickly I was able to get that up and running, but for instance, I've struggled for 2 hours to get the melee animation working, just because I couldn't figure out a simple, melee transition animation in the animator. And, you often get stuck. And part of that is just learning a new tool, I guess. And part of it is, being a bit dense in the head. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.